Morning students, today we shall study our second chapter of civics, that is federalism. First question of this chapter is, name the government having two or more levels of government. The federal government has two or more levels of government. There are two sets of government, one is unitary form of government, another is federal form of government. In unitary form of government, there is only one government at central level, that is central government, whereas there may be that at district level there may be local governments. But in federal system, there are different levels of governments that may be two or more than two. That is central level, state level and local level also. What does coming together involve? Coming together federation is that in which the units, the federating units come on their own to form a bigger units. When the smaller units comes on their own to form a bigger unit or a bigger country, that is known as coming together federation. Name the countries having coming together federation and holding together federation. So first we have to understand what is holding together. In holding together federation, when a large country, a huge country for administrative convenience is divided into different states, that is called holding together. And when the units comes their own accord to forms a bigger units, it is called coming together federation. So some of the countries of coming together federations are United States of America, Switzerland and Australia, whereas the examples of holding together federations are India, Spain, Belgium, etc. How can fundamental provisions of Indian Constitution can be changed? Fundamental provisions of Indian Constitutions can be changed by taking a consent from state governments also. If a resolution is passed by the central government and it is ratified by the state, fundamental provisions of the constitutions can be changed. Next one is, why have the subjects like defense, foreign affairs, banking, etc. been included in the union list? These are the subjects of national importance and they require uniform policies for their national execution. That is why these subjects are included in the union list. Our next question is, in India, a federal system, which levels of governments has power to legislate on residuary subjects? There are, in federal system, it is very necessary that constitutions must divide the power between different levels of government. In India also, the power is divided between central government, state government, and some subjects are reserved as concurrent list or the residual subjects. On matters of union, the items that are there in the union list, only the central government can make laws. On the state list, only states can make laws, whereas in the concurrent list, both central and state government can make laws. But there may be certain residuary subjects. On these subjects, the central government can make laws. Next one is, in case of clash between laws made by center and state on subjects in concurrent list, which law will prevail? So it is made an arrangement in Indian constitutions that in case of any deadlock between central and state governments on any matter of law or act, only the central law will prevail. State law will be declared as null and void. Next one is, which two Indian states have been given special status? The constitutions of India gives special status to the state of Jammu and Kashmir and Arunachal Pradesh. Next one is, which judgments of Supreme Court made Indian federal power sharing more effective? The judgments of Supreme Court regarding the arbitrary dismissal of the state government by the central government is one of the landmark decisions, and that ensured the Indian federal power sharing has been made rather more effective, because under Article 356 the central government could remove or depose the state government. And this there had been plenty of misuse of this Article 356 in the past. So Supreme Court has passed a judgment that central government cannot remove the state governments arbitrarily. So this definitely has boosted the Indian Federation to a very great extent. Next question is, what are the two main bases on which new states of India have been created? The new states in India have been created on the basis of linguistic and regional diversities. So next question is, how many languages are spoken in India and what are the ratio of Hindi speaking people in India? There are more than 114 languages are spoken in India, out of which 22 language including Hindi is made as the is in the list of linguistic list of the constitution. And beside this, around 40% of people in India speaks Hindi language. So 22 languages are known as the scheduled languages, and Hindi is also a scheduled language in India. 40% of people in India speaks Hindi language. What does concepts of decentralization signify? Decentralization signify that power has to be delegated to the lower organs or lower levels of the government. That is, the state government and the local government will share, the central government will share the power with state government, and state government will share with the local government. So this is the concepts of decentralization, and it has been made obligatory in Indian constitution. So which two constitutions amendments? 1992 deals with local self-government. There have been several constitutional amendments in India, and most particular among them were 73rd constitutional amendment and 74th constitutional amendment incorporated the idea of local self-government in India, or the Panchayati Raj institution. So this act, amendment rather, give powers to the rural governments as well as the urban local governments in India. Next one is, which highest institutions of Panchayat Raj in rural areas? In the rural areas, the highest institutions is Zilla Parishad. Who is the political head of municipality and Gram Panchayat? The chairman or the mayor of a municipality is the head of the urban local governments, and Sarpanch is the head of the Panchayat, Gram Panchayat. Our next question is, what fundamental changes was brought about in Belgium system of governance in 1993 contrasted with that of Sri Lanka? Historically, both these countries, Belgium and Sri Lanka, witnessed the ethnic diversity, and but their approach to deal with this issue were quite different. The Belgium system of governance took some major decisions and changed their constitution. They changed their system of governance in 1993 from unitary to federal. Earlier they were unitary form of government, but later on they become a federal form of government. So they brought about this change, thereby giving equal representation to different sections and ethnic groups in Belgium. Whereas in case of Sri Lanka, it does not change. All the power was in the hand of national government, and there is only unitary system of government there in Sri Lanka. So this resulted in plenty of strained relationship between different communities in Sri Lanka, whereas the issue of power sharing was very amicably resolved in Belgium. Next question is, what is federalism? Explain with examples. Federalism is a system of governance in which the power is divided between central government and the state government, and both these governments enjoys their powers independent of each other. It is the constitution that clearly divides the power between central government and state government. Since the powers are divided by constitution, so there is no friction of power between these two governments. In India, for example, we see that in India and USA also, we see that the constitution ensures that some powers are given to the central government, that is in union list, and there are some items of power given to the state governments in the state list. So this is the clear division of power under federalism, so as to avoid the frictions and tussles among these two sets of government. Next one is explain the holding together nature of Indian Federation. Holding together federation is that in which a large country is divided into number of states. For example, India. India is a huge land territory and it is divided into number of states in order to ensure administrative convenience, so that people could feel that they are also a part of the decision making. States in India are generally made on the basis of linguistic and regional differentiations. So these types of federation is called holding together federation, and it is practiced in India. Next one is in what ways the judiciary important for Indian Federation. Judiciary plays a very important role in federal systems of governance, because judiciary has to explain the constitutions. The responsibility of the judiciary is to justify the constitution, to clarify the constitution, and to ensure that there is no high-handedness by the government, that the government is executing the policies, the same policies which are formulated by legislature. So judiciary is very necessary in case of any disputes, and disputes may be between central government and the state government. There may be difference between states governments, and there may be difference between government and the citizen. So these types of disputes are resolved by judiciary. So in Indian judiciary is single integrated systems in which the apex is the Supreme Court, and then high courts and the lower courts. So in case of any violations of these rules set by the constitutions, judiciary comes into picture, and it explain the law that is formulated by legislature. So judiciary plays a very important role in all the federal countries. Next one is examine the significance of decentralization. Decentralization is the most important concept that's for democracy and federalism. That is, decentralization ensures that the democracy is reached to the grassroots level. Decentralization ensures that the people at the local level feels themselves to be a part of the process of decision making. There are various ways to resolve disputes, and the best way to resolve disputes at the local level is decentralization. So in India, the act of Panchayati Raj, which ensured the local self-government in India, the main purpose of this was to deepening of democracy, so that the people should have the equal participation in the democracy. So this decentralization ensures that maximum people participate in their political process. Decentralization also ensures the delegation of power from higher authorities to the lower one. And for any democratic setup or any federal setup, it is very wrong that power is to be concentrated only in a few hands or at a few level. The best way is to decentralize or delegate the power to the people, because local problem can be easily resolved by the local people there. So in order to ensure political participation, in order to ensure that maximum people participates in the mainstream political system, decentralization is very necessary. Yes, our next question is examine the concept of 3 tiers of government of Indian federalism. the three tiers of government, as we have discussed earlier, that the basic idea or essence of federal system of government is that there should be two or more than two tiers of government in the country in order to ensure that power is reached to large number of people. India is a vast country, and some of the Indian states are even larger than some of the countries of Europe. Apart from this, these Indian states are also internally very diversified. As a result, there is a need to establish more tiers of government so that the people should feel that they are also a party in the decision making process. To ensure this, local self-government, the concept of local self-government is also incorporated in the Indian constitution. So here we see that at the apex level there is a central government that is the most powerful governments of India, and the whole country is divided into number of states on the basis of cultural, linguistic and regional diversities, and in those states also there are the local self-governments. At the district level there is a Zilla Parishad, and there are other rural as well as urban local governments in India. So all these governments functions together in order to ensure that people must feel that they are also a part of the governance. Yes, our next question is, in what ways has the local government deepened our democracy? The constitutional status of local self-government has deepened our democracy by making or ensuring maximum political participation of the people. And the women are also given representation or reservation in the local self-government so that their voice could also be heard and raised. So women are given reservation in these local bodies in order to ensure that the 50% of Indian population, that is women, must have representation in the political process. Apart from this, in these local bodies, reservation is given to scheduled caste, scheduled tribes and other backward classes. So they can also have their share in the decision making process. Besides this, these local government has ensured that most of the people raise their local issues on the national level and can solve their problems locally.